The thing is, not under that religion, which is a false deception of the Antichrist and of Satan, but under God. Well, but God makes things a little more difficult. He says there is black and white, there is justice and evil, and there, not only is he a loving God, but he's also just in his punishment for sin.
So they believe they can change the world.
Absolutely, they believe they will.
Rome believed,
and they are going to.
And Rome believed they could change the world during the Inquisition. In fact, they tried to force people into this religion of change.
And they did. They did for a while, and that's what's going to happen
for
here
for
a while.
Mm-hmm. A couple of points I'd like to bring up, Mike. One is these so-called evangelical emergent leaders. One of the big things the devil's doing in society right now, and Oprah is probably one of the main vessels here in America, is all roads lead to God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's deceiving people that because you have the evangelical title behind you, you're a Christian. Or if you're Catholic, you're a Christian. Or if you're a Mormon, you're a Christian. All these roads somehow are tied into Christianity. And we're here to tell you, Jesus is very clear about what a true Christian is.
Straight is the way, narrow the path, few there be that find it. And they say, wide is the path, and you're all going to find it eventually through reincarnation. We got a phone call. You want to take them?
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Ehrlich, how you doing tonight?
Good. Hey, Mike. I called you guys last week, and just want to first say I was kind of watching you guys, and God did a good job pairing you two together. I like how you keep each other in check.
Thanks.
Anyway, what you're saying, I had some random thoughts. So I don't know how coherent this is, but you know, some statements that I wrote down according to what you're saying is like I was told 20 years ago. You know, the devil can tell you 99% of the truth. He just has to get you off 1 degree or 1%, just a little bit to spoil the whole thing. So yeah, and you guys are definitely right with the way that he twists that. I grew up with New Age, like I said last week, and my mom was into all that stuff, you know, and
I think you said last,
and you know, the occult stuff.
Yeah, and I think you said last week she was still there, wasn't she?
Still involved with the New Age?
Yeah.
Oh, she's been involved. She's you know, the Baha'i program before you guys. She is kind of that thinking that all things should be peaceful and world utopia and.
Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, but it's deception. That is the deception that will deceive Christians.
I mean, yeah, look around the world, and you know, again, if we're going to come under a false unity with a leader that we're going to give all power to, this Antichrist who really thinks he's God, as the Bible says, right, that's going to make things, you know, 1,000 degrees worse, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple more statements. Just kind of want to run through this, but I really like Wiccan people. They're nice people, but I'll say these two statements and then they'll throw them for a loop. And Jesus said, "I came to bring division, not peace. He came to circumcise the goats from the sheep." We're not in one world unity. It's, do you have a relationship with Jesus Christ or don't you? If you have a relationship with Jesus Christ, the analogy is you're a sheep. If you're stubborn and you want to do it your way or the world's way, or Bob Dylan said, you're going to have to serve somebody. You're either going to have to serve the devil or you're going to have to serve the Lord. And it's a black and white choice. People don't like black and white, but I just, you know, I'm struggling because I've got a sister and a mom that are toying around. I haven't talked to my mom recently, and you brought it to my attention about Oprah because my mom had mentioned something about Oprah, and my mom neglected to say the Course in Miracles, which she has studied for 20 years. And I don't know if we'll ever agree, because I will always stand that the Bible is the Word, the living Word, and that the Course in Miracles is exactly what you're saying. I'm recording this program. I'm going to put it on VH tape or DVD. I'm going to send it to her because I love my mom. But if people are going to focus on their way and their will, hoping for some future utopia, they'll get it. I don't know how long it's going to last, 7 years or whatever, but it's going to be temporary, and they're going to have to face the Lord in the end. And that's just the way that, I mean, it's the way that I believe, but there's so much evidence that's the way it is.
You know, God in Isaiah 41:21 through 23 says that He's the only one who can tell the future, and you tie that in with Deuteronomy 18, says He's the, you know, the only one to tell it 100% with 100% accuracy. And see, these demons can't replicate that. And so God uses a lot of prophecy in the Bible. We've got a lot on our website. We can connect you a lot. And maybe that will show your mom. If you ask her, look, you know, it's hard ferreting out the truth sometimes because the evil one is very wise and deceptive. And God said it would be that way. But only God can tell the future. And when you look at Isaiah 53 about Jesus' life, and when you look about Israel as a nation, the history of that, and that Iran and Libya will be allied with the Soviet Union, Rosh, Meshach, out of Ezekiel 38. And just in the papers this week, it said that I saw a film of Putin with Gaddafi in Libya. And they signed a huge arms agreement and an agreement to kind of help each other militarily. And so he's now done this with Iran and Libya, just as it says in Ezekiel 38, written 2,500 years or so ago. And, you know, that's not going to happen by chance, it all coming together like this. Or Jesus saying one of the signs of the end is going to be, the first one is, many will come in my name saying, I am Christ, Matthew 24, Luke 21.
Well, what you just said to me, though, sounds like with Libya and Iraq and that whole thing, that sounds like it's an impending threat upon Israel.
Of course. And the Bible says that Israel will be invaded, and it's kind of in the midst of that invasion where it looks like they're losing, that Jesus is going to step onto the Mount of Olives and straighten everything out.
In one of the last prophecies is Israel, Jerusalem will become a burdensome stone, a cup of trembling. If I said pick 5 cities in the world that you would think is a burdensome stone or a cup of trembling, you think Jerusalem everyone would answer at least Jerusalem once?
Right.
But back then, who would have thought that Jerusalem, I mean, you've got Spain, I mean, you've got Syria, you've got Babylon with, you know, was a major power at that time. Persia was a major power.
Rome.
You can pick cities in all of those countries. Why would you think that all the world be gathered together, guess by chance? So all these prophecies.
Let me ask you this question.
Sure.
Is the whole purpose of trying to get rid of Israel, is that so Jesus doesn't come back to his own land?
I think it's to show that the Bible's wrong. Satan's been trying to prove the Bible wrong, so the Bible indicates very clearly that God was going to bring Israel back as a nation again, and that took 1,900 years or so. And you know, Satan can say, well, see, the Bible is wrong, he's wrong, you know, I'm Lucifer, the serpent, I'm really God.
Oh, here's another thought, too, is that the Jewish people are God's people, and that contract's never been broken, and that the Jewish people will finally come to realize, the tribes of Judah, that Jesus is the Messiah. And I feel like the devil's trying to interfere with that process.
Well, no more than he has since the beginning of time.
Sure.
It's always been about destroying God's people and to exalt himself above God.
Sure.
And he hasn't been able to do it yet, has he?
No, I call him the little G God, and he's a stupid little G God. And it's,
but you know Ehrlich, I'd like to say, as I said a little earlier in the program, that it might look, if the timing of the rapture is different and the church is raptured out after all this terrible stuff happens, and I know the wrath of God's not going to fall on Christians, but tribulation has certainly fallen on Christians in Roman times, you know, thousands and thousands being killed, and in Maoist China, where millions were killed who were professing Christians when Mao...
You know, there's a...
Well, let me finish the point. Let me finish the point, Ehrlich, and I'll come back to you.
He's still talking.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking too. And the point being is that we don't want many Christians giving up on Jesus. I mentioned that before, just because Christians are being slaughtered, possibly, if the rapture happens later on than is considered. Many Christians have believed the rapture would happen earlier. Go ahead, Earl.
Yeah, I was just going to say real quick, is the Bible says, comes like a thief in the night. And when I read Left Behind, it sounds like beam me up, Scotty. You know, Jesus beam me up to heaven. That would be great. I haven't seen evidence of that, but thief in